All right, guys. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the little controversy that's happening right now with Steven Crowder, the Daily Wire, his former wife in the divorce process currently right now, and all the hubbub around it all. Now, if you're not familiar with Steven Crowder, he's a Canadian American political commentator. I think he's also like comedian, stuff like that. He's very much conservative, right wing. And currently he is now on Rumble. He was having some issues with YouTube in the past where I think he was getting demonetized a lot. He wasn't making, his channel, his videos were always getting demonetized. And so now he's on Rumble. But just before he went to Rumble, there was a big controversy where the Daily Wire, I guess, tried to pick him up to add him to their roster of, conservative talkers and stuff like that. And he, for some reason, was not happy with the contract, basically outed the whole contract on air, and did some shady stuff with recordings one of the co-owners without him knowing, releasing that audio tape, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure you guys have seen it. If not, here's a quick little video on it.
Steven Crowder was offered a slave contract of $50 million. You know, slave wages. This after the conservative outlet Daily Wire offered him a $50 million contract over 4 years, with Crowder making a video showing some of the details of the contract, and with it accusing conservative media outlets of conspiring to censor conservative values in favor of profit. The Daily Wire quickly responded with a video saying that Crowder took much of the contract out of context, saying this was a basic contract that could be negotiated, saying if he was kicked off of platforms for things that he said, the reason that he would get paid less is because they would be getting paid less, and going on to accuse Crowder of expecting millions of dollars in payment even if his show didn't drive that level of revenue. And now big conservative names associated with the Daily Wire are speaking out, with Matt Walsh saying Crowder is deceiving you, and Ben Shapiro tweeting, "It's nasty to attack my company and DW Plus posts as Big Con by lying about the meaning of a non-binding term sheet. It's despicable to plan weeks in advance to attack my best friend and your friend by setting up and secretly taping a phone call, all to grow your email list," and then tweeting out a timeline.
Now, after he made this video, Jeremy Boring, as I mentioned, one of the co-owners of Daily Wire, he released a video explaining the contract, saying, we were basically giving him initial contract. He could then look it over, bring it back and forth, let us know what he was into, what he wasn't into, and we could work from there. But instead, he basically shut it all down, and apparently 50 million over 4 years wasn't enough. So as I said, after all that happened, it's pretty quiet. He's on Rumble now, doing his thing. But now he's kind of talking about Candace Owens in particular in regards to the Daily Wire. And as he's announced his divorce, he's kind of insinuating that he had to say something about it because Candace Owens would have said something on it on her own. And I'll play this clip right here from his Rumble. It's about 4 minutes long, so just bear with me.
But needed to take a moment here to address some issues out there that are circulating. It's never fun. But, I guess let me be clear here. I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now.
This is his wife he's talking about, all right? And I get it. Not all marriages are perfect. There's going to be ups and downs. But to basically come out and say that you've been being suffocated or, had a boot on your neck, that's a little intense.
Since 2021, I've been living through.
Now, 2021, remember this, because there's some evidence that has just come out from his wife from that time frame, which kind of paints a little bit of a different picture.
What has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And
again, keep that in mind. He's mentioning physical abuse in particular.
No, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that.
Also, sorry to pause again, but keep again in mind him saying there, not his choice.
That she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter. In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon. And all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless, completely without fault, and so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests, both emotionally and physically, to do so.
Now, just for context, I believe him and his wife just had a set of twins back in 2021, so this kids would only be around 2, maybe 1.5 currently. So I don't see how they could be the blame, but...
Now, the other issue is, and this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long, many other people knew about this behind the scenes. Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage, knew of this. They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well. Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Stephen has a lot going on, I guess is the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives.
Now, this is in regards to the whole Daily Wire debacle with the contract and him releasing everything. A lot of the Daily Wire members came out and stated, like, you know, they didn't understand why he was doing this. If Jeremy Boring was his friend, as he stated, why did he record him and yada, yada, yada. So this is kind of what she's talking about, him being under, or he must have been under a lot to do something like this.
I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. You know, Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. You know, maybe if I feel in further defense, some things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Well, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So to those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book.
Now, Candace has come out with a video saying she would never put his kids in a position like that. And for him to infer that she would, you know, says a lot about him and his character, yada, yada. I'm going to play a little bit more. There's a specific part I want you to hear.
Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes, which will be made alarmingly clear as this process of discovery continues. And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, kept their word and used discretion. I can't thank you enough. Sincerely, I appreciate it. Won't forget it. It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her.
Listen to this part.
A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. and she wanted something else for her life. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly not the fault of my children.
Now, I don't care what you say, what your stance is. That is a crazy thing to say about somebody that you apparently loved or loved. Somebody who is the mother of your children, somebody who you've been together with for many, many years. In no point, if my wife and I, God forbid, broke up or had a divorce or whatnot, would I ever state that I made a bad choice simply because things went wrong. There are times where things get rocky. There are times where, you're at a crossroads and an impasse, and you really don't know where you're at. But never would I come to that conclusion that I picked wrong. Now, after this came out, this was on the 25th of April, Candace Owens made a video kind of talking about this, as I mentioned, and she then apparently extended an offering to his wife to come on to her show and give her side, so that there was a voice. Apparently, however, this was already in the process, and I guess a journalist, this person, Yashar Ali, got an exclusive video via Steven Crowder's wife. This is on their Substack, Yashar's newsletter. And I'm going to play this whole video. I'm not going to pause it, but just take a look at this.
Because I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary at abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There's no groceries. I'd be happy.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes. How does a man respect? How does a man receive love and respect? No. How does a man respect? No, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
You're not taking the car.
Steven,
You are not
then
taking
I
the
will
car.
ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not a threat, Steven.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
Steven,
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Steven,
And making it work when you do that. The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
we are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Steven,
There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
Hillary,
Steven?
you give up so easily.
I
I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at an impasse. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife.
As a wife.
Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage anymore. I'm gonna go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
front some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not trying to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to it. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves.
I need to.
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just.
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take Betty.
Now, as I mentioned in the previous clip, remember 2021 is what he mentioned. This says 2021-06-26. She was 8 months pregnant. Again, so they had their kids a little bit later. Again, he states, I love this woman. Here in this video, he went out and said, I don't love you. Now again, he's probably heated, he's in the moment, he's angry, whatever the case may be. But if this is any indication of maybe a small amount of what she was going through, then Steven himself is a very, very abusive, especially emotionally abusive person. Now, in this clip, he, I guess, was angry because the dogs that they have need medication. However, she was concerned with handling the medication at 8 months pregnant. And that's why he was telling her, put on the gloves and deal with the dogs. Now, he's just sitting there having a cigar. Don't know why he couldn't have done it. But she released a statement here, and we'll just kind of go over it. Hillary is currently living alone in Dallas, apart from her parents, apart from her family and support system in Michigan, and is focused on taking care of her young children. She is not prepared at this time to speak about her divorce becoming public or the misleading statements made by Steven about the relationship. The truth is that Hillary spent years hiding Steven's mentally and emotionally abusive behavior from her friends and family while she attempted to save their marriage. She was the one who was asking to work on their relationship to keep the marriage intact for their unborn children. Again, Steven talked about a proverbial boot on his neck, this and that. I don't know. I'm just going based off the video I just saw. Again, it's one video, but it kind of painted a pretty good picture. In June of 2021, Steven left their home to pursue elective surgery. Hillary urged him to get the help he needed to address his abuse with the hope that their marriage could be saved and that they could peacefully live together as a family. Instead, Steven refused to do so and chose not to be with his wife during the birth of their twin children. After the birth, Steven bought a townhouse and left their home permanently. Hillary was unaware that Steven had hired a divorce attorney and asked his assistants to cut Hillary off financially. Again, in the divorce announcement, Crowder said that his wife was the one who was pursuing the divorce. His wife was the one that wanted all this. In, the state of Texas, as long as one person wants out, then that's all that matters. Here she's stating that he was the one who hired the person without her knowing. Again, now this is a he said, she said kind of situation. Steven hasn't really made an announcement on this or anybody else. This came out about 3-4 hours ago. There is significant documentation substantiating these facts. So maybe through those documents, you will see that, Crowder was the one that initiated all this. We hope that Steven will cease speaking publicly about these personal matters in an untruthful manner. We also look forward to there being full transparency in the legal process, so there is fairness and accountability for the actions that caused the divorce, and to ensure the outcome is what it is in best interest of the young children. And I would agree. I would hope that that would kind of be the outcome that people go about as well. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this was because as soon as this announcement came up, after this whole divorce thing was announced, the people on the left and the people on the right started making videos. People on the left pretty much cheering that he was getting screwed and, serves him right and yada yada. And then people on the right attacking his wife, especially a lot of these like red pill guys who are saying like, oh, even conservatives can't deal with a traditional woman because, all they want is divorce. And, yada yada. And it's like red pill, blue pill, yellow pill, purple pill, whatever the pills these guys want to label themselves at. Just boil it down to being a human being. There are times where people work out, there are times when people don't work out. You know, it's not like, oh, because you're red pill, it's the woman's fault automatically and the man is good. And if you're, you know, blue pill, whatever, serves the man right, power to the woman. Like, no, every situation is different. Again, as I've said, this is he said, she said currently. He made a statement. This is her kind of rebuttal to that. And the evidence is kind of stacking against him. But, and again, a lot of these videos that are coming out are just kind of based off the information that we have currently. And, you know, hopefully as more people start to see these things, or maybe more information will come out, people will maybe revise their videos or their opinions or their views and just realize like this is a shitty situation regardless of what side you're on. Like, again, these are two human beings. There's two children in the mix now that potentially are going to have to deal with this as they get older. And to me, civility is the best thing. I get it. You have your problems, you have your issues with each other, but just be civil. You don't have to bash each other. You don't have to drag anyone through the mud. You don't have to talk poorly about somebody. And that's my 2 cents on this. As always, love to hear what you guys have to say, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.